A model, a wife, and a mother. Samira Frasch was living the high life, multi-million-dollar homes, high-end cars, until tragedy struck. The mother of two was found dead at the bottom of her pool, her children missing. Here's a preview of tonight's new sex and murder episode.
911, what's the address of the emergency?
Ma'am, can I get an officer out here in Golden Eagle? There's a lady laying in the pool, in her backyard in her pool. She's dead.
She was nude in the pool, suspended in the deep end.
It looks staged.
She's working it.
You could not stop Samira Frasch from her goals and what she wanted to do. She was a dreamer. They met in this bar in France, fell in love instantly.
One word describes their marriage: tumultuous.
I don't want to know why you are in here. That's what he's laughing now.
Yes, I am laughing because you're lying.
Anger-driven, passion-driven relationship.
Is she awake?
No, ma'am, she's dead.
Joining me now is Joel Silver. He's a longtime friend of Samira Frasch and her husband, Adam. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us. Tell me how you met the couple and how you were able to get so close to them.
Yeah, there's nothing normal about any of this. Everything is kind of a strange story, but we started in a business relationship. She actually called me as a business opportunity. She wanted us to follow her around. I own a video production company, and we follow them around the country. One thing you got to know about Samira is Samira loved her baby. This was back when she only had the first child, Hyra, and after a few months, people thought Hyra was so beautiful when Adam and Samira would travel that she wanted someone to go around with them and record the reaction and the excitement of all of that stuff. So what we did was we followed them around the country, and every weekend we'd be in a different city. So I get to know them pretty well.
And so was the husband, Adam, good with this, with you following them around? And what did you see when the cameras weren't rolling?
Just like everything in this story, it all deteriorated over time, and not a whole lot of time, sadly, in really just a couple of years. But at the beginning, everything was absolutely fantastic. And the couple, this was a dream situation for Samira, and she was so happy at this time in her life. She had just met Adam, was in a marriage. She had just had her first child, Hyra, who she loved so much. Mm-hmm. And Adam himself was doing great too. And over time, things started to deteriorate in so many ways.
We hear tumultuous. Would you agree with that? And did you see many fights between them?
Yeah, and as it progressed, you would see more and more anger between them, and it was really sad. And really, it all happened in about a year or so.
Anger on whose side? Both?
They actually did. They did. There was a lot of yelling and arguing. Not a lot of violence in front of me, but there was a lot of yelling and arguing.
When did you find out that Samira was dead, and who told you?
It was a strange story because I was actually on a vacation on a cruise ship, and I got a message late at night when I checked my phone that from a friend that said she thought that this was my good friend who had been murdered. So I found out and really had no way of finding out more information because I was in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean.
Did you eventually come back and call Adam? Is that how it was verified to you?
No, I read a lot of different news articles and watched stuff on local television. But
did you immediately think, who did you think of when you heard that she had died, or did you think it was an accident? Well,
there had been talk for so long. The couple at this point had been getting divorced, and they had gone back and forth with different police reports and different accusations. They had separated. They had restraining orders. So there was a lot of thought that there could be some danger. In fact, Samira had been hiding out at her lawyer's office because she was afraid for a long time.
And I understand she had sole custody of the children. So he had a lot to lose here.
Yep. This was going to be his third divorce. And, I don't know that he had expressed that he did not want the divorce. So he wanted to stick around.
Do you often think of Samira, and how are her kids doing?
Sadly, we do not know the status of the kids. I don't know. When after all of this, the kids did go and live with one of Adam's relatives. But I think of her a lot, and I'll tell you this: when I was asked if I would participate in this program, immediately I said yes, and it is because I want to make sure people know the story of Samira Frasch, and I want them to know who she was, because she was such a nice person, such a great person, and loved her children so much. And I'm hoping that one day her kids will see a story like this and they'll have a way of knowing how much their mother really loved her.
Yeah, I hope so. And I'm glad you agreed to it, because you add so much having that particular view of the marriage. Would you say she was a peacekeeper in the marriage?
Well, there was so much. This story has everything into it. It has suspense, it has love, it has intrigue. So it's so hard to say as things got worse and worse. Nobody really could keep track of all of the different.
You seem hesitant to want to say it, to really want to tell what you know in terms of this relationship, which is understandable.
And no, and yeah, and just like any relationship, every marriage has issues, they have fighting, but it's odd when you think about it, because not many people know someone who was murdered, right? So there was fighting, but was it more fighting than any other couple?
Right.
Possibly a little more yelling, but it's really hard to say, in the end. And you'll hear in the show, I'm sure, what the different evidence that was there, but it is hard to think about when your friends are involved in a murder, and when one was killed and one is the one that actually could have killed her.
In hindsight, do you go through kind of maybe the specific fights, or early on when they were getting along? Do you go through that and relive it?
Oh yeah, all the time. And when I go through a program like this one that I'm on here and talk about it, it's sometimes hard to think about. So I'm always, thinking about her. I'd love to know what's happening with the kids, but when I go back and I think about those good times, when I think about her smile, I think about how happy she was in that phase of her life. And, it's very sad to know that in just a short period of time, not only did that happiness end, but her life ended.
And you had a look on the relationship that most others didn't, because you were with them so often, and you never really know what someone is capable of. You wouldn't go from fighting straight to murder. Joel Silver, thank you.
Thank you.
For all of the details on how this unfolds, don't miss the new Sex and Murder episode tonight at 10 Eastern and Pacific, only on HLN.